guys, Josh here. I'm very excited to be recording this video. I'm so happy there was a Nintendo Direct today. I was hoping for a new Story of Seasons or Rune Factory game, and I couldn't have asked for anything better than what we're getting. So if you missed the news, Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life is getting a remake for the Nintendo Switch, and same thing for Rune Factory 3. In this video, I'd like to focus mostly on A Wonderful Life. It will be called Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life, and will come out January 26, 2023 in Japan, and sometime during the summer for the rest of the world. I know a lot of people, including myself, were hoping for a remake of this game, and I think if they had to pick one game to remake in the series, it's probably the one that needs it the most. A Wonderful Life had a beautiful atmosphere, it looked great on the GameCube, it was also really unique because the game was divided in chapters, and after each chapter your character and some other villagers would get older, your kid would grow to become an adult, and their future would depend on how you raised them and who you were friends with, and it really felt like you were being part of a living community. The storytelling and characters were good, and as a kid I cried during the ending. It was just such a good game. However, it also had some major flaws, like the complete lack of festivals, very long days, extremely tedious farming, a small selection of marriage candidates, and all of these things can make it hard to go back to the original game today in 2022. Especially as since it went for a more realistic graphical style, it does look a bit more dated than other Harvest Moon games from the same era. There are quite a few things I noticed in the trailer. By the way, there's two trailers, there's a Japanese one and an English one, and they actually showed different gameplay footage. I will put the link to both trailers in the description, feel free to check these out, but I watched them so many times and here are my first observations. Let's start with the graphics. Actually, for that, my feelings are pretty mixed. I think the environments look great, I love the terrain, the grass, the trees, the colors, the buildings, the fences, and all of the details on your farm and in the village. However, for some reason, I feel like the character and animal models don't really fit in. It looks like they kept the same realistic style as the original for the environments, but the characters on the other hand are a bit more cartoony and flat, and honestly I'm not too sure what to think about it. Maybe this is something that I'll get used to it as I see more gameplay footage or once I start playing it myself. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it looks bad, it's just the contrast between certain things I find to be a bit jarring. Overall though, I'm glad they didn't go all in with the cartoony look and stayed close to the original, at least for the environments. Some characters also look like they were tweaked a little bit, for example Rock, who you could marry in Another Wonderful Life, which was the girl version of the game, because if you haven't played the original, at that time there was one version of the game where you could play as a boy and marry one of the girls, and then another version where you would play as a girl and marry one of the boys. So anyway, in the girls version you could marry Rock, but he actually did look a little bit young, but in this game he looks a bit more mature. I don't know if it's a change in artistic style, all the characters look a bit taller, maybe the change in body proportions is making a difference here, but that's one thing I noticed. And same thing for Lumina, who was added as a marriage candidate in the special edition, and she no longer looks like a child and seems way more appropriate for marriage now. Some other characters had their name changed. For example, Muffy is now called Molly, and I'm not sure why they changed it. Her Japanese name is Mumu, so it's not really closer to the original, so I have no clue. Let me know guys if you have any guesses as to why they would have changed her name. There's also Matthew, who might be a new character, but I think he's probably a redesign of Marlin, who was one of the marriage candidates, and as I said, the selection of marriage candidates was pretty limited and not all that interesting, especially for the male characters, so I can see how they would want to give him a little glow up. There's also this guy who is either a completely new character or what I think he is a redesign of Cody. He has the same skin and hair color, plus the design on his shirt and shoes are pretty similar, so I think he could be one of his relatives, maybe a brother or a cousin or something, but my guess is that they wanted to add him as a bachelor, so decided to also give him a little glow up. So it really looks like they did some work to make the romanceable characters more appealing, and I hope there will be some new characters still, like how they added Brendan and Jennifer in the Manual Town remake, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, and I'm also assuming that same-sex marriage will now be possible. Oh, and it also looks like Murray got a redesign. He looks a lot cleaner, extremely clean now. His beard is all well-groomed, his skin is glowing, he has beautiful eyelashes, and he's surrounded by butterflies instead of just regular flies. He was also renamed, so his Japanese name went from Moi to Pui. We don't know his English name yet, but I'm assuming probably gonna be starting with the letter P. I have to say that I liked how he was before. He was a very funny character, but I can see why they would want to change him as well. I'm sure I will grow to like our new Murray, but I will miss the old original one. But that's pretty much it for what I noticed in terms of characters. Now let's talk about quality of life and game features. There's now a camera we can use to take pictures with, just like in Pioneers of Olive Town. And I saw some empty frames on the wall, so maybe we'll be able to put our photos in there. Some machines can also be seen on the farm. It could be something that was there in Another Wonderful Life or the special edition. I can't really remember, but I'm guessing these are all new. And I think the yellow ones are machines that water crops automatically, kind of like sprinklers. Also, the buildings where we had our fridge for dairy and the book to place orders no longer seem to exist and everything is outside. I actually like that change. I think it does look good and it will save us some loading screens. And of course, Murray probably won't steal our stuff anymore, so I guess not having it in a building is no longer an issue. We can also see the characters sowing multiple seeds at once, which you couldn't do in the original. The farming was really tedious, and the watering here seems a lot faster, so it does look like they improved a lot on the farming. Other little things I noticed are the stamina bar, which is helpful because you couldn't see your stamina in the first game. And also your character got hungry all the time, no matter how much you ate, so I'm hoping that will be a bit easier to manage in the remake. You can also press L to switch between your tools and your seeds, so I think that will make farming a bit easier. So these are the things I noticed. Let me know what you guys think and what you're hoping to see in this remake. As for me, I'm extremely excited. As I said, I think it's the game that would benefit the most from a remake, and hopefully it won't disappoint. I will be sure to cover this game on my channel as soon as the Japanese version comes out, so make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out. And as for Rune Factory 3 Special, I will talk about it briefly, but I actually have never played the original, so I'm looking forward to it. They redid the character models and it looks so much better than how it was on the DS. However, kind of the same issue as with A Wonderful Life, I feel like there's a jarring contrast between the environment and their characters. It's just two completely different graphical styles, and some things like the crops and chests also look a bit rough. It brings me Harvest Moon Light of Hope vibes, which is not a good thing. You can really tell the difference between the original art and the stuff that was added or redone. But either way, I know that for a lot of people, Rune Factory 3 is their favorite, so I'm sure it will be worth it and a lot of fun. They also announced that the new Rune Factory series was going to launch in the future, and since they used the word new series, I don't know if that means Rune Factory 6 or something completely different, maybe along the lines of Frontier or Tides of Destiny, or even completely different from that. So let me know if you have any guesses regarding the future of Rune Factory. So that's pretty much it, guys. This was such a great Nintendo Direct. Tons of games I'm looking forward to. Leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and I'll see you all in the next video.